Eden, I'm going to be honest with you for something, okay?
Yes, I'm here.
Our first live watch, you got a little mad because you thought I was rude to our guest because I tried to make Jessica Marie Garcia act on the spot. But that is her literal job. And here's the thing. I'm going to make you act. I have a little game for us. I pulled a quote from this past episode, right?
Okay.
And I'm going to make you cold read this line and we're going to match it to see how close it was from the episode. Okay. So it's in the chat right now.
Okay.
It's when you're in the bedroom with Patty.
I will say, because I just watched this.
Yes.
It's fresh in my brain.
It's there. Okay.
So I'm pretty good. I think because of doing cartoons, doing a cartoon for so long and having to match perfectly exactly, I'm actually pretty good at matching
oh, good.
Hearing it. But am I trying to get close or am I trying to
Or it's whatever you want it to be. Do you want to try and match it? Or if just reading this cold, how would you do it now? And we'll see how it compares to, 2010.
Okay, I'm a little nervous, but let's see.
Okay.
Also, I could never be really... Did I come off actually mad? I would never be mad at you.
I was joking. I was exaggerating. I was joking.
Okay. I was like, Brooke, I'm never mad at you. Oh my God. The day
Never,
I'm
ever.
mad at you, the day you've done something...
Something bad.
Horrendous, yeah.
And I will know, I assume, right? There's not going to be a doubt about it.
Oh, no. I would never... I can't physically lie about that. If I'm mad at someone, they know before I'm mad. They're like, oh no, it's coming.
Eden, I can't wait for our first fight.
Me too.
I hope it's about the podcast.
All right. Mom. Mom, junior high is hard. People judge you for every little thing, if they even notice you at all. I just want to be judged. Didn't you ever want something so bad that you'd die for it?
Junior high is hard. People judge you for every little thing, if they even notice you at all. I just want to be judged. Didn't you ever want something so bad that you'd die for it?
I'd say that was pretty spot on.
Yeah, that was honest. I think my read for if they even notice you at all in the real show is definitely better than what I did just now, which is good. I think that's probably a good thing.
That's a good one. That it's on the finalized product. Yeah. This is all to say. Today we're recapping the episode where that little soundbite is from, episode 111, The Jeans, and we're also going to be interviewing Jana Hunter, who is the writer of this episode, along with her writing partner, Mitch. But we have Jana today because Mitch is off doing other things for ABC's The Conners.
Yeah, and Jana is the more, I don't want to say she's the more fun one, but she's definitely the more talkative one. So, so everyone, all that and so much more. So Brock, let's get to middling.
Welcome to Middling with Eden and Brock, where Eden and I break down an episode of The Middle each week. Eden, I'm exhausted. I was texting you at 11 p.m. and you clocked my ass. You said, you are up 2 hours past your bedtime.
I've never in my life texted you past 9:01. I was stunned. I was like, is something going on? What is happening?
Well, I was doing work and then I turned on an episode of Selling Sunset while I was doing said work and I had to finish it. I had to finish out the season. I was addicted.
Sure. I haven't watched since season 2 or 3, I want to say. Which is the one, I missed the one where Chriselle has like a non-binary lover.
Oh, still going. Still going strong.
Still going.
Oh yeah, they're married.
What?
Oh yes, G-Flip is some Australian singer, but Chriselle is drop dead gorgeous.
I mean, yes,
of course. And then all of these ladies know exactly what they're doing. I don't usually follow these kinds of reality shows. I like competitions, but this one I am fully obsessed with.
You don't do reality? You don't do, like I do. We've talked about like we bond over. We do both do competition reality.
Oh yes.
But you don't do like a Housewives?
No.
I can't believe this is an insane thing that I'm learning about you right now.
It does feel like I would fit right into that kind of like viewership, right?
I mean, you are the main demo. Right. You and I are together the exact demo, tailor-made for us.
You know what I'm thinking of just in this moment? I'm thinking of Brad and Sue. I'm thinking of our spinoff. And you know what they probably like would start a lot of our episodes with are Brad and Sue hanging out in one of each other's apartments with like a glass of wine and ice cream, finishing out Real Housewives or whatever the newest franchise is. That's how Brad and Sue would be in their mid-20s in Chicago. They're not out of the club. They're together doing that.
I'm so that just made me Occasionally you will say something that will like, yep, now I'm sad again. That needs to happen. But yes, you were up so late last night. You probably are exhausted. Did you wake up at 6 again?
I woke up at 4:30.
Wait, that's too early.
To go to Barry's at 5:15.
Oh.
Okay, Eden, we need to move on because we have a lot of housekeeping. So if you're listening to this, I need you to grab your multi-purpose cleaner and your microfiber towel and listen closely, okay? So we want to let you know next week's episode, you're still getting an episode. It's not a recap episode. It's a very, very special episode because Eden and I, we were waiting for the perfect moment and we talk about them 8 million times per episode. We say their names 8,000 times. Eileen Heisler and Deanne Helene, the showrunners, the creators, the masterminds behind ABC's The Middle for 9 seasons, 215 episodes. We had a little sit down with them, which was so fun. So we have that special interview with them coming out next week, and then it'll be back to your regularly scheduled programming the following week when we recap episode 112. So be on the lookout for that.
It was a good interview, and I'm very excited to release it. And finally, we have a new feature. I'm very excited about this that we are unveiling on our Patreon. If you are not a subscriber, you don't have the money to subscribe, you don't want to subscribe for whatever reason, you can now purchase one-off episodes for $3. Whether you want just the audio or the video, you can purchase one-offs. That is starting next Wednesday.
So basically, if you're like, the subscription doesn't feel right for me at this current moment, but I do want that extra 40 minutes we had with Patty, you can go buy that for $3. Or if you're like, I definitely absolutely want to hear the extended full interview with Eileen and Deanne, the creators of The Middle, you can buy that for $3 without having to like fully commit to a subscription. So if you're already subscribed, no worries, you're already getting that content. The only things that we won't be doing those $3 one-off episodes for are the live watches, because that's special for our Ehlert's exclusive members. So that's the only thing you won't be able to purchase as a one-off, but everything else starting next Wednesday, $3. So much fun.
So, you can now officially put your pine sol away. Housekeeping is done. And now, let's do some middle minutes.
Okay, we have episode 111, The Genes. Frankie and Mike must endure the unpredictability of teenagers when a hormonally charged Sue, baby, I know that's right, hormonally charged Sue wants a cool pair of jeans in order to fit in with her peers, and Axel wants a car to impress a girl. Meanwhile, in an attempt to teach Brick about responsibility, Frankie and Mike reluctantly allow him to take care of Aunt Edie and Aunt Jenny's dog, Doris, for a few days.
Episode written by Jana and Mitch Hunter, who Jana will be talking to later. She'll explain everything to us. And it was directed by the fabulous Jamie Babbitt, who directed the very first job I ever had when I was 11 years old.
Love it. Guest cast, tiny today. Mandy Musgrave as Kate.
They were like, we don't have the budget at this point.
Yeah.
This aired on Wednesday, January 6th, 2010 at 8 p.m., 7 p.m. Central, because it was a night of back-to-back episodes?
I guess so. That's what Wikipedia said.
Okay, great. Were they 2 new episodes, or were they?
Yeah,
it was
they were
one
back
repeat.
to back. So we had this one, I guess, at 8 because we're usually at 8:30, right? So that we jumped to 8. So I don't know what we replaced, or if it was just they didn't have a new episode of whatever was in that time slot before. And then at 8:30 was 112 with the neighbor Brooke Shields, which we're talking about, in a couple weeks. But they aired The Genes and The Neighbor back to back.
Wait, 2010.
2010.
Oh, right, it's January now.
Yeah.
Whoa, weird.
So this is our first set of episodes of the 2010s.
Whoa,
yeah.
Crazy. We're really going through time. I feel like I'm time traveling a little bit. And we had 7.37 million viewers. That's a jump. That's pretty good.
That is really good. Top movie of the week, Avatar. Loved it. Saw it twice in theaters. And top song of the week, TikTok by Kesha, before the app came out.
Whoa, that's right.
Whoa is right.
It was even spelled like TikTok.
Crazy, right? The TOK. That's crazy. Yeah.
Is Kesha a prophet? We don't know. We'll never know. So, on that note, let's break down the ep.
Okay, Eden, episode 111, The Genes. What'd you think?
Honestly, great. This was the first episode that I I don't want to say, like, I do laugh out loud sometimes, but this is the first one I can say where I was genuinely laughing.
Yeah.
I was laughing at things that Patty said also. Not that Patty's not incredible, but like, it took me by surprise. It really took me by surprise. A couple of her jokes really, like, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're queen. You're an icon. I see it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it was funny. I liked this one a lot, actually.
Me too. And I just like, it also felt, I liked almost, because sometimes I think it's a little bit of a risk with these things. Like, so Sue was acting out of character, and sometimes I feel like you wait a little bit longer for those characters to be established before they give you a different flavor of that character that's just like going to be a one-off as a joke, to really make sure that audiences understand that this is not normal for them. But actually, I didn't mind it. It felt a little early compared to, like, I think of how TV is, just like how the medium functions. But I didn't mind seeing Sue out of character. Maybe that's because I know Sue so well, but so funny to see you be something different than you have been for the past 10 episodes.
No, I actually agree. I was like, oh, kind of thank goodness they did. Because I don't think, like, I'm still going to be me. I didn't character jump, because it sort of was a relief. Like, oh, yeah, she's not one-dimensional. She's still a 13-year-old or whatever. And this is, yes. And it was fun to do. And maybe, hopefully that showed through, that I was still having fun. And it still felt like Sue... I don't know. It still felt, you sort of felt it as it was happening. It felt like, oh, this is not normal Sue. It's
Right,
like,
right.
I know this. If you have a 13-year-old, or if you've been a 13-year-old, like,
Right.
yes, this should happen. And you know what? I made myself laugh a little bit with my.
Oh my God, you were hilarious.
I couldn't believe it.
Wait, I'm jumping the gun. I have so many things to say about one particular.
Let's go through
Now
these.
looking at your clothes, we'll talk about it. Okay, so Frankie and Mike are baffled when Axel acts out of character by being nice and pouring cereal into a bowl. But before they can think too hard about it, Sue enters the kitchen, also out of character, in a rage. Both kids acting out of character.
Yes. That would be very confusing for me if my kids just switched.
Yeah.
Then Brick, but I do have to say that truly must be what having teenagers is like.
But also, comedy is all about the stakes, right? It's taking the almost like mundane, and then you have to raise the stakes. So what the first LOL that I had from this episode was Axel's pouring cereal into a bowl. Like it's like in a covert operation. It's just like these stakes are so high, and that's what makes me laugh.
100%. That was my first laugh also. So then Frick asks to take care of an emphysema-ridden Doris, and Frankie and Mike reluctantly agree. I think this was also a laugh out loud for me. I think Neil who said, "I don't think you will." It was a perfect interaction.
A perfect interaction. Also, I watched this last night with Cameron, and Cameron and I were laughing out loud so much at Atticus. The first LOL we had at Atticus was when he goes back to his book, and Frankie's like, "You can do it," and he's like, "Do what?" I know that kid. I sat next to kids in school like that kid.
I mean, my kids are 3, but that's my kids. They beg to do something themselves.
After being nice for a full 8 hours, Axel finally reveals he wants a car, but Mike puts the kibosh on it because Axel doesn't have a job.
Sorry, boo.
Yeah, sorry, boo. The vignettes, they've already done a set of them. So they did with Brick and the 3 things that he killed. It was the fish, the hamster, and then the Tamagotchi, the electronic pet, which made me laugh. But then this set of vignettes, they used them a lot, I feel, in this episode. But I didn't mind them as much as I have in the past. I'm like, okay, let's just get to the story. They really did make me laugh, and they were quick.
Yeah, they were. I think they're learning.
Yeah,
they were like, oh, okay, these work in modern. Like this is the way they're working.
Yeah, and the more and more too, I'm looking at these episodes. He always makes me laugh, but now now he's making me laugh out loud. I always appreciate Neil, but now I feel like he's getting these lines that truly just like send me. Neil
Flynn is the goofiest man I've ever met in my life. Truly. He is not, you don't see this as Mike. And he gives Mike hard, but he also is, which is not shown in the show, except for little things like this. He's so silly. He is the silliest man.
Well, that's why he was able, that episode where he sings in the car, it's one of the most infamous middle episodes when you guys catch him singing in the car. That's when he could like really let his freak flag fly a little bit.
I'm excited to talk about that episode. I have a lot to say about that episode.
Me too.
Let's stay with this episode.
Yes.
Next up, Sue has a meltdown in her bedroom because of her impending theater audition, and Frankie tells Frankie, oh my God, I can't read, and tells Frankie that it is because she wants a pair of Citizens of Humanity jeans. And I really liked this cutaway. It shows that Frankie knows that familiar feeling because of a pair of Charlie's Angel shoes. So Frankie secretly takes her to buy the jeans. I really like that whole bit. Is this the scene where I do the the physical on the bed thing?
You are rolling around like a roly-poly-oly, like a rotisserie chicken all up in that bed. You are just rotating and rotating and rotating.
I remember the blocking that scene, and I remember them being like, "How? Okay, are you just sitting on the bed?" And I remember being like, "No, I would not be. I would be flopping. I would be just like not in control of my body."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Can we try one where I'm just like where I flip over, where I do? Is this going to mess up coverage? I don't want to like mess up any coverage, but like I really feel." And then I did it, and they were like, "We'll make it work."
Yeah, because it's so funny. Okay, this is the scene where I need to talk about your outfit, which is insane. You have sleeves that are puffy and striped, an Argyle sweater, and all the diamonds of the Argyle are a different pattern. It's like bright it is crazy, but in the perfect Sue way. But it is truly like the most outlandish thing that Sue has worn to date.
No, some of the stuff was absolutely was kind of insane. It was insane, but you know what? It didn't seem to bump anyone.
No.
But us, clearly. I don't know. And it was balanced out with just like really normal things. So I guess. And honestly, it does feel like a teenager thing to be just like trying out. Like, does this work?
Yeah.
And maybe it's a perfect episode for that to be. Because it's like, oh, wow, Sue really does need those jeans.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what she's doing.
Also, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, now I need a recap podcast for the episodes we've recapped because now I can't remember. We've been in Sue's bedroom, correct me if I'm wrong, once, and that was just for a brief moment when you're interviewed by Vicki Lewis, the social worker, for those like brief little cutaways. But is this the first, now I cannot remember for the life of me, from so far, is this the first time we've actually spent a lot of time in Sue's room? It has to be, right?
I think it might be.
Because we spent time, I know in Axel and Brick's room for sure, because there's like, I remember all those scenes. But I think for at least this long, because there were things I was noticing, and one of them is right behind you, literally right now. I clocked right from this episode the "Hang in There, Kitty" poster from this episode. I said, "Oh, I thought that came in much later." No, it came in on episode 111, the jeans.
Oh no, Sue's posters never changed. They never changed.
My God.
And that is literally, I've talked about it before. This is what you saw in the episode is what you were seeing behind you right now. That is the poster. That's the thing I stole from set.
That. I think this is the first time we spent an extended period of time, or at least saw all angles of Sue's room.
That is, I think it might have been the premiere. It might have been the premiere of Sue's room. I think you're right.
Let's launch middling from middling, and we can go back and review and see if we've seen Sue's room before.
Yes, I think that's a great idea. I will say the last thing about this is the Citizens of Humanity thing. I remember they constantly had like that almost bumped me because it felt so out of place to like name. I was like, they didn't know what Citizens of Humanity. They did a Google search of trendy jeans for teens at the moment. That's what they did. And I know that's what they did because I've asked in the past about other things. Like, they talk about like Chance the Rapper in like season 8 or 9. And I'm like, there's no way you have any idea who Chance the Rapper was. Did you just like Google hip, like music artists at the time? It was Mitch. And he was like, yes, that is what we did.
Wait. Am I so out of the loop? Is Citizens of Humanity an actual brand?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, really? I thought that was a made-up brand.
Oh, no, that's
wow.
real. And it is correct. Those were like big jeans. They were jeans. I wanted them also. And I was 18. And they were expensive. I think they were more expensive than $112. But that brings us into the next little beat. That at home, Mike gently reminds Brick that he forgot about Doris. I really like that beat also when Brick is like, oh, and he's like, yeah, you left her. He already knew.
Brick's reactions are hilarious in this episode.
Yeah, his facial expressions are really great. Then Sue and Frankie come home and Frankie tries to hide the receipt from Mike, but of course he finds out that they were $112. And I do have to say, this was the other moment that I laughed out loud. And this is a testament to the writing also, because this was written and Patty just delivered it perfectly, where she's like trying to get him to not, see the remote. She's like trying to grab it from him. And then the last ditch effort of no, there's a present for you on it. She was perfect. I laughed. It was just great. It was just great.
It's so funny, but it's so relatable because my mom, whenever she wanted to hide anything from my dad, would buy things in cash so that when they're looking at the credit card statements together, it didn't show up on the credit card statements. So that when my dad is like, they're going through together, he can't be like, wait, why did you go to Chico's? Like,
that
so
is
mom would pay things with cash. So you shouldn't have like a paper trail.
There's no hiding anything with me and my husband. There was never ever any hiding anything because we just share everything. And so even if I'd have to take cash out of the ATM, then he'd be like, "Why did you take $400?"
There's a present for you on it.
Yes, there's a present right now. But also we tell each other we're very much like, don't spend, like, we're not gonna. Are we gonna do it? Are we gonna? I think we're a little too frugal. No, we're good. We're great. All right, back to the episode.
Okay, back to the episode. The next day, Sue did not. Hold on, I wrote this down. Now I'm going to try and perform it like you. The next day, Sue did not make the drama club, which means she still almost maybe did make it. So Frankie stands by her decision because the jeans gave Sue the confidence to nail the audition. I feel that way when I get a haircut. Like today, I feel very confident. Except I still have my little Danny Zuko thing that falls down. I keep pushing it back.
I don't even notice that. I don't
my
even
little Danny
notice that.
Zuko. All I need is a cigarette and leather pants.
I can't believe I didn't say it out loud. Your hair looks fantastic.
Thank you.
I clocked it at the beginning. I clocked it when my kids were talking to you, and I was like, it was too hectic to try to say something that I forgot. But no, I was like, oh, damn, Brooke looks fantastic.
Thank you. I got a haircut about an hour ago.
Oh, great. Great job. And then, all right, now we're back to Frankie, Mike, and Axel. Frankie and Mike drop off Axel with friends, and they force Axel to introduce them to the girl he likes. And as a result, Mike changes his tune and wants to get Axel a car because of the level of girl he's dating. And Frankie says he can buy Axel a car if he can find one that's the same amount of money as Sue's jeans. I'm going to be frank about this because I think on the whole, like, I think this episode was fantastic. I did not understand I didn't understand why this happened. I was like, why did they need to meet her? What was the point of this? And also, I gotta say, I'm always a little creeped out when when grown men are commenting on teenage girls' appearances.
Sure.
I did not love that. I sort of just went past it. I was like, okay, it's fine. Like, there was enough of a conversation between Mike and Frankie about it, but I was a little like, overall, I think this episode was good. I gotta be honest, I was like, I don't know if that would have held up today, or maybe that is a thing. I don't know. I don't love that.
No, but I do totally understand where you're coming from on that. I completely understand that.
Yeah.
Also something that I'm like looking at, I feel like we do it all the time, and they're not doing anything. They're doing exactly what normal sitcoms do and should do. But like I'm now picking up on all these different things. Frankie in that scene is with the emery board and Mike is with the toothbrush. And I think why so many people are like, you are looking through my window into our lives. And to me, of course, it's the subject matter, but it's a lot of these little touches that just make you feel like you're so dropped in. There's nothing revolutionary about like using an emery board in a scene, but it's that little like detail that just makes you feel so like you're a fly on the wall in the room with them. You know what I mean?
Totally. They had them always doing the most mundane business. Like we call it business. Like I need business to do, in a scene. If you're like, it's so much easier when you can't just be talking like they do in Kardashians.
Right, where they sit on a couch and just look at each other and talk.
Yeah. So you always have to have a little business. And I will say the business that they had us do was always like, it was so simple. And it was like, this is exactly what someone would absolutely be doing at 9:30, 10 p.m. on a whatever. It was always, you're right. Those details are really, they make a difference.
Putting groceries away, Axel coming in, getting a soda out of the fridge, straightening up the mail, or like setting mail down, or walking in and putting a jacket away. Like, it's those tiny little things that just, I don't know. I didn't notice what you shouldn't notice, but notice because we're looking at it very, very closely. And I was like, those little details, they're so good. They're so good. They're so good.
Yeah.
Okay. In the laundry room, Frankie has to remind Brick about Doris. again. And she is mortified when she realizes she shrunk the $112 jeans.
That was such a funny. That felt like a little broad. They were so small.
I mean, they were children's jeans at that
They
point.
were.
Because also
But
when you wore them, they were a little lengthy. Like they were long on your leg.
Yeah. But I liked it. It made me laugh.
I do remember a lot from this episode coming into it, but the one thing that I do vividly remember I was like, this is the episode where Patty jumps around and it's in a wide shot trying to put on those jeans. If anything, I remembered that before watching this episode. Still made me laugh.
Yes, she's great. I think we're all pretty good physical comedians.
Yes.
I gotta be honest.
Very much so.
So Frankie has to break the bad news to Sue, who was so excited to have the same jeans as Jennifer Love Hewitt. I bet they looked that up. I bet that's real. And of course, they get into a huge argument as mothers and daughters are. Oh, I loved this. Oh, right.
Wait,
this
me
was this
too.
scene. I loved this. Oh my God.
Did you get tricked as well? I got tricked the first time.
I did. I totally did. I was like, oh wow, they really had her be so balanced. Like, what a wow.
Because if you didn't watch the episode, what happens is Frankie goes through, like, she has her narrative and she goes, and I broke the news to Sue, and then Sue goes like, you know what? It's okay, Mom. And then her voiceover goes, that didn't happen. And there's a series of 3 of them of like potential scenarios, and each one kept getting me more and more. I kept falling for it.
I was like, oh, yes. The first one, they had Sue react super rationally. And I was like, oh, wow, okay.
Because that is Sue.
I guess it kind of is. And then she said that didn't happen. And I was like, oh, yes, that would also definitely happen. And then they had her react super rationally and like perfectly. And then I was like, oh, wow, I guess that's the resolution. And it wasn't. And it made me feel like, thank God. Oh, my God. Like me with the 3-year-olds. Sometimes I really lose my cool, and I'm like, shh, I'm a grown-up, they're 3. I'm a grown-up, they're 3. Just don't why are you engaging? Why are you in this fight? Why are you? And I was like, yep, it probably never ends.
You're also human. I'm human.
And they're the best people, and they can be so frustrating.
Did you get into screaming matches every once in a while with your mother when you were a teen?
Every once in a while.
Let me rephrase that. About every week? Every day?
Every day. Starting at age like 11. I was not like Sue at all. I was such a bitch to my mother.
Oh, no.
No, I try to repay my mom every second of every day now that I'm a grown up. I'm just like, I try to make it very clear, like, boy, oh boy, I think karma's going to be like, I love you so much. You did such a good job. I'm sorry I was like this to you. You're amazing. You did a great job. Whatever. I was terrible. I was a terror.
Oh, but now you're making up for it. So I like that. You do have a really good relationship with your mom. I always enjoy seeing you two interact.
Yeah.
Okay, so Axel drives Kate when his car breaks down. And then when Mike picks them up, Axel goes back to his old ways and acts like a jerk.
Classic.
Just like we talk about with everything with sitcoms. So if we never hang out in that area too long, we got to go back to how we know them, which is Axel being an ass.
Yep. And Sue, back to her sweet self.
Yes, exactly.
Opting to, of course, wear the jeans as Bermudas, which is something I had never heard before. Aren't they called capris?
That's okay. Okay, wait, can I tell you something? So when I wrote out that little blurb for us to say, I was like, oh, maybe I got it wrong, because it would be capris, not because Bermudas are shorts.
Yeah, I think,
but maybe
right?
they're so comically small that they actually did turn to shorts. I have no clue.
You know what? Sure. Maybe they bent it, because aren't Bermudas like long
like
shorts?
Yeah. They're like at the knee or something.
And then I totally forgot this part of the episode, and then I was like, oh yeah, I was brought back to this. Brick, at the very end, Brick admits to Frankie and Mike that he was irresponsible. He lost Doris.
Which is so funny.
But before they can get mad, Sue discovers puppies in the laundry basket.
How was that?
That was so great.
Those dogs are so... And they had one for each of you. I would have adopted one right on the spot.
I can't remember if they were actually adopting them out, but I think I may have asked. I may have. Oh no, did I have a dog at that time? It doesn't really matter. They really do. Puppies cut all and any tension. Not that there was tension on set, but if there was for any reason, it's gone. It's gone.
Oh, that is sweet. They were adorable. It reminded me, have you seen The Comeback with Lisa Kudrow?
Of course.
Okay, it reminds me when she like accidentally adopts a dog that happens to be on set because she has to work with a puppy, and I was like, I wonder if anyone got roped into adopting a dog and just given the puppy.
Thank God. Thank God we didn't. We were like, this would be enough. People were like, this is pretend. Everyone remember, they're going home after this because we can't have this happen.
Oh, great episode.
And now we get to talk about the episode with the fabulous Jana Hunter.
Okay, Eden, we have someone who's been with us since the beginning. Today's guest is one of the top comedy writers in Hollywood. Thank you very much. After being accepted into the Warner Brothers Writers Workshop, Jana, along with her writing partner and husband, Mitch, have written and produced some of the hottest TV shows, including, let's count them, Drew Carey Show, According to Jim, Gary Unmarried. You're about, is it a week and a half away from being all the way done with The Conners after 6 seasons?
We are. We're at the very end of it. It's
Wow.
it's a little emotional at this point.
Oh, I'm sure. That's another long tenure. 6 years on The Conners, about to finish that. And of course, all 9 seasons of ABC's The Middle. So whether she's telling you a story, which I personally have heard, over margaritas, or telling you a story from behind her keyboard, our guest will have you doubled over with laughter every time. Please welcome Jana Hunter. Jana, thanks for being here.
I'm so
Jana,
happy to be here.
I need you to start speaking because before we even pressed record, you said I have a little correction. So Eden and I have said a couple of times that the dryer falling into the front lawn during episode 2 with the tornado, we're like, that might just have been a hair too broad. Maybe that was just a little too much. Nothing ever falls into people's lawns. And I stand corrected, don't I?
You do, because that came from my and Mitch's life when we had first gotten married. We had been married 6 months probably, and we lived in Oklahoma in a little house that his parents owned. And all of a sudden the tornado sirens went off, and I'm in North Carolina. I'd never been in a tornado. I was freaking out. I'm running around the house going, what do we do? What do we do? And Mitch is going out on the porch going, well, I can kind of see something off in the distance, like that kind of thing. And I was going, so I get the mattress and get in the bathtub in the little windowless room. And Mitch finally, he goes, yeah, it's going to be a bad one. That's what he said. Just like, Oklahoma, matter of fact, yeah, it's going to be a bad one.
Sounds like Mitch.
And yeah, right. And then at the end of it all, it sounds like a train coming through your house. It sounds like a train. And
Wow.
It's terrifying. It makes earthquakes seem kind of like, meh, even though they're not. But it does. It really does. And when we came out after, it died down or whatever, we went out to and there was crap all over the front yard, all over it, because it had busted up houses. So people's houses,
gosh.
the wind had just shot stuff from the houses. So we had a porch swing, we had a coffee maker, we had clothes were everywhere. It was just clothes were everywhere. Like if you needed clothes, this was your day.
What?
And so that would be, you're just like running around going, flip-flops, boots, we've got it all. So that was where that came from. Now, I'm not going to say the dryer might not have been a skosh big, I don't know. But, I mean, we had all kinds of things on our front yard.
But the fact that you walked out the front door afterwards, after protecting yourself, and there was a litter of things on your lawn,
oh, my God, it was
crazy.
unbelievable. They had trucks that roll through the neighborhood and pickups, and you can start loading up things in the trucks. And I encouraged the neighbors to come by, and if they wanted anything.
Were some of them
Little
like,
yard sale.
that's ours? You can't
Yeah,
give
no,
that
I'm
away.
sure. I'm sure there were people cruising the neighborhood going, these are my shoes, my baby's shoes are here. This is, I mean, it was an experience that I will never forget as long as I live.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that was why we were like, hey, what if they have a tornado? Because that's a Midwestern thing. They have
Right.
them all the time. So anyway.
Yeah.
So you're corrected now. It happens.
We are corrected. Little asterisk. Well, thank you first and foremost for being here. Eden and I are so excited to see you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here. This was a great 9 years of my life. And you guys
Yeah.
were so great. It was so fun. And you guys
Well, it
are
helps
so
when you have good
talented and
writing.
fun to write for. You're fun to write for. So
Well, thank you. We could do a little love fest all day.
Yeah.
we good.
Gotta get down to work. Brass tacks. That's the expression, right? Gotta get down to brass tacks.
Let's do it.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I actually knew what I was saying, and I always have to ask a writer. So, that said, Jana, we always start with the same question for all of our guests. How did the middle come into your life?
Oh, wow. Okay. Again, it kind of came into our life through Bruce Helford, the guy we're working for now. Okay, we worked with him on Drew Carey, and he was doing a pilot for the Bernie Mac. Well, first of all, I read the middle pilot when they just sent me a stack of scripts. We were looking for a job, and they said, these are in play. And I read the middle pilot. I loved it. I just loved it. I went, this is the show I want to do. And, of course, it didn't go.
It was the first
crap.
one.
It was the first one. Yeah, it didn't go. So I was like, crap. So smash cut to forward to maybe a couple of years, I guess, or something. And Mitch and I were working on, Bruce Helford was doing the second Bernie Mac show. Okay, so he was calling writers he knew to come in to punch up the script. So Mitch and I got called in. We went in. And the second time I couldn't go in because I had Chloe. I had just gotten Chloe. And, you know, so I was a new mom. And Mitch is like, well, I'll go in and you don't have to come. And I was like, thank God, because I don't think I'm very good at this and I need more time with it. So he...
None of us are.
yeah, really. You know, I was like, you think you've watched enough TV to know how it's done and you just haven't.
No.
But anyway, he was in the room with Eileen. Eileen had come to help Bruce because Eileen and Deanne worked with Bruce Helford on Roseanne. This is like the biggest circle I've ever made in my whole life. So that night in the room was kind of rough, and he and Eileen were cracking jokes back and forth to each other, and Mitch was getting stuff into the script, and Eileen was getting stuff in the script. And at the end of the night, Eileen and Mitch were just walking out to their cars. And she said, you're real funny, you know, and he said, well, thank you. And he said, you are too. And then he said, by the way, I have to tell you, because there's no stakes in it, my wife loves the middle. Like, she's obsessed with it, is insane for the pilot. And I only went, yeah, I know, it's such a good pilot. It's a shame it didn't go anywhere. Then smash cut to like 6 months later, and everybody's like, the middle's back alive with Patty Eaton. And so that was when I called the agent, and I said, if you can't get us on the middle, you're fired. I said, I'm pretty obsessed with the show. I think I should have a good shot at it. So we get an interview, and I realized that Eileen already likes Mitch, but neither of them have met me. So I'm thinking, this is my job to lose, basically. If I go and I'm terrible in the interview, then it's like, if we lose it, then I'll know it's me because they already liked him. So, but we got it. We got the job.
Wow.
And they hired us.
Well, it's really
there.
really incredible. I feel like a lot in this industry, a lot of talented people. There's a lot of talented people in this industry, but a lot of it comes down to, are you in the right place at the right time? A lot of it comes to luck, and that serendipitous like car walk with Eileen that Mitch had. Right place, right time, and you both had the talent and the backgrounds and the personalities that they were looking for, you know, when the show got picked up to series.
Well, you know, we're a married couple. That helps. Like Frankie and Mike are, you know, pivotal, and so they were looking for married couples. And also, I had told an ABC executive I had dinner with when they said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I want to do the middle, but you won't pick it up. You freaks.
So we have you to thank for the middle getting picked up, I think.
A little bit, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not, but I was like, she's just a friend of mine. I was going, that's what I want to do.
You have the confidence of, like, everyone should strive to have the confidence of Jana Hunter. I'll tell you that much.
I didn't start with it, but I'll tell you, the Drew Carey room will give you confidence when you're the only gal in it.
Oh,
Ooh, that
sure.
must have been.
But it's...
Ooh, what was that like? That wasn't
Yeah,
even
what
one of
was
our
that
questions
like?
on that. What was that
back
like?
when rooms were rough too. I mean, now rooms are so nice and everybody's polite and everybody's sweet. Back then it was like, you know, it was tough. It was full of stand-up comics. It was full of
Yikes.
people who were like joke machines, you know.
No one had
You
Twitter to
gotta get
cancel
in
you
there.
yet. Yeah.
Not yet. No, we were just we thought we'd even won a big lawsuit when the Friends person sued the Friends writers and they won. The Friends writers won. We're like, we got the sky's the limit. We won a lawsuit. But now, you know, it's better now, honestly, if I were honest. But it was crazy back then. You had to be loud, and if you weren't loud, you weren't heard.
Did you feel like when you got to the middle then, was it a little bit of a relief to have a room that was run by women?
It was, actually. I will say that. Having women showrunners it was nice because when I spoke, they heard me.
Yeah.
You know what I
Okay,
mean? They
good.
listened to what I said, and they were
Because
very.
I feel Eileen and Deanne had similar experiences too, because they were coming up in the scene when that was kind of the same scenario as well.
Oh, and I'm sure if you had an opinion as a female showrunner, they're like, "Okay, honey, thanks
Yeah.
for sharing." You know,
Right.
you're just like, "Okay, I'm going to try not to punch that guy in the face, but I want to."
How do you, your way into the middle, right? That's Midwest. Where do you find that you relate to it? Because I mean, Mitch is from Oklahoma. I see the through line there. Where do you feel that you resonate with the middle the most?
I kind of grew up like the middle, just in the middle class family, you know, somewhat. I wasn't quite, like Mitch grew up poor. He grew up dirt poor. I grew up with the people, I didn't get the bike for Christmas. I got it for my birthday. You know, it was like, well, you're not going to get it for Christmas because we don't have the money, but maybe we can get the money by your birthday and then we'll get you one. You know, it was more like that. Mitch's family was like, you're not getting a bike ever in your whole life, and don't even quit asking, you know. It's like that was his family. So it's like, you're lucky there's bread on the table, okay? So
Wow.
you should be grateful. So he grew up much poorer than I did. So but I can relate to the family. Like Big Mike, there are components of Big Mike that are my dad. And
Probably little
I think-
Mitch too, right?
Yeah, a lot of Mitch in there. But also everything that happened on the middle in the shows happened to somebody on the staff. We very seldom went rogue. So we would start on Monday morning coming in and just talking about our weekend. And all the marital fights were couples coming in. Mitch and I would literally fight. And I would say, "Is this a good middle fight?" And he'd go, "I think it is." I go, "Let me jot it down real quick and I'll get right back to you." And we would jot it down, you know, like, that's a great fight, you know, and so. And Deanne and Bruce Vulcan had the same situation. Like we would do their fights too, you know, it was like.
Yeah.
And the Valentine's Day episode with the rose actually happened to me. Like that was where she doesn't get the rose. Everybody at the table buys the rose.
Oh,
for the,
yes, yes,
because
yes.
Mitch and I are non-rose people. We've always been non-rose people. We think $10 for a rose is ridiculous, and we don't ever do it. And so we were out with people, and they all bought their women roses, and Mitch said, "No, thanks, that's fine. We're fine." And, you know, and I'm sitting there going,
Only
yeah,
person.
we're good. We're so good. So we were like, that would be perfect for Frankie Mike, you know.
So can I ask you, actually, that brings me to a question, like working with Mitch in that way, are you able to bring up that story when you had very real feelings of embarrassment or anger towards Mitch, or like when that moment happened to you at the dinner table, and then how does that translate back into the writer's room? Is it the only way that we're bringing it up in the writer's room is when I can like laugh about it, or are you still bringing that up when there's still a little bit of unresolved feelings about it?
Everything's a freaking story. And you know what? Honestly, when you make it a story on a TV show, all the hate or the anger feelings or whatever go. Because it's funny. It's funny to
It's your
kind of
version
watch
of therapy.
It. Right. It's like when Sue can't get her yearbook back. That's what happened to me in my senior year. My yearbook just disappeared. And I kept going to people going, "Have you got my yearbook? Have you got my yearbook?" And they're going, "Oh, I think so-and-so has it." And then I'd be chasing all around. I'd be going, "That's great. I'm a senior. And my yearbook's just never going to come. I'm going to be without a yearbook, you know, my whole life."
Oh.
You know, that was my thing. And then at graduation, they passed the yearbook up, and it was covered in signatures. So that actually happened to me. And I had sat on that story. That was a story that I thought, that's a fun story for some show with teenagers. I remember having that thought. And because according to Jim, the kids were too young. So I was like, and I know I'm not going to be there till when they're in high school, I'll tell you that. I wasn't going to stay that long. But anyway, it was like, it's like, they ain't going to be teenagers on my watch anyway. But it was a story that I always had tucked in my head. And then when they said, "What are we going to do with Sue's graduation?" I went, ooh, call on me, I got a story. And so that's what we did.
Are you at this current moment, are you sitting on a couple of stories that you have not shared because you haven't found the right show? Or do you kind
Always.
of walk into the writer's room being like, "I'm out of ideas. I hope something comes just based on this Monday morning conversation we're having"?
The cool thing, you do, if you're a writer or if you're an actor, really, even, you don't run out of stories because also, if you're out in the world, really pay attention to what's going on around you, because I've come up with all kinds of crap, like when Frankie and Mike are in the mall and they're fighting about frozen yogurt. I heard another couple in a mall do that, and I go, that's going to be a headpiece somewhere. Where she's like, oh, I think I'll get a frozen yogurt. And the guy literally said to her, we have frozen yogurt at home. And she went, I can get a frozen yogurt if I want one. That's exactly the exchange. And I went, oh, that is going in the brain, like, because that's a hilarious moment,
I mean, I could truly hear you. I'm realizing at the very beginning when you were talking about, like, oh, this is your interview to lose, I was thinking, I've never in my life, I can't imagine you and Mitch being separated. Like, you together are what make your stories are so incredible. You have never ending, even when they're each other, when you're like, if it's a you story, somehow Mitch will either will just like interject at the exact right time, but you guys have endless stories. I can't imagine what goes on in the writer's room. Just right now, I feel like you've got a million out here. And so I just, as soon as I was like, wait, no, if you were gonna have more, I'll hear it.
No, you just don't, and everything that happens to you is a story. I mean, and sometimes you have to think it's funny, but it could be hilarious if I spun it a little more this way. I mean, there is some spinning required.
Totally, and putting it into a narrative structure and stuff, I assume, takes a little bit of finessing and stuff, but I assume part of the talent is knowing what's a good idea and what's worthy of being put into,
Like right now, our daughter
draft.
won't learn to drive. She's 20 years old and won't learn to drive.
And in
It's
college,
driving me out of my mind.
Isn't
and
that
in college,
I feel like that's a Gen Z thing.
I'm spending
that's like a
$8 million
statistic.
on Uber.
How is she not? I mean, I'm very anti-car, I will say. Like, Nick and I, my husband and I, are so, we have this stance. We're truly just like, we just got an e-bike. Like, we're really, really out trying to get out of the car lobby. But this feels different than what, like, there's no, does she live in LA?
Right now she lives in San Diego because she's at San Diego State. So it's a little, university. It's a little bit easier for her. But still, I'm just like, when she comes home for anything, it's like, can you take me here? I need to go to the dermatologist. I'm still in that saddle that I thought I would get out of by now. I was like, I thought, you call the doctor, you make the appointment, you drive there. That's how it works.
Yes. Yeah. Or you take the bus. I was going to say, like, is she really pro mass transit? Because it's hard to get around in LA.
No.
She's pro mom taking me everywhere. So.
Yeah. And that's a story. That's absolutely.
That was another story. That was like, we came into the room and we were all bitching about our kids because it was like, since when do we have to go back and get the extra fries? And when did our parents wouldn't do that. So that's where the taking back the house came from. We were all griping about our kids. My kid literally came into me and goes, what are we doing this weekend? One time. She was little. She was like 8 years old and came in and goes, what are we doing this weekend? I'm like,
I love Chloe.
What are we doing? I know, right?
Love Chloe.
Like, why? Is your schedule booking up and you need to, what's happening? Chloe, the cat kid, Brick's friend cat kid, that act like a cat.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
Chloe. That was based off Chloe. Because
Chloe was the cat.
When she was little, I would have to put her food on the ground and she would eat out of a dish like a cat. I think this could be very wrong, what I'm enabling here right now, but I don't know what else to do.
Well, if you're wrong, then I'm very wrong because I do it times two. No. We can't get them. The only way we get them in pajamas at night is if we turn you into, okay, you're a kitty now. Oh, and you're a doggy. Okay, got it. Okay, woof woof. And if we don't say woof woof before, or we give them treats, they sit, they're imaginary. But they will sit and they're like, well, okay, you get your pants on now. And they're like, tweet. And we're like, okay, here's a treat. Good dog. Good dog.
Good dog. Put your pants on, dog. Chloe would walk around like this, like she had paws. She would walk around.
So do they. And then they're like, I'm a kitty, ribbit. And I'm like, I'm a kitty, ribbit.
I
don't know what I'm enabling.
Oh my God. They're barrels of fun. And believe me, they're going to be fine, like don't listen to anybody around you. They're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Chloe's in college. She's doing great.
Not driving.
She just needs a car, and that's about it. She just needs a driver's license, and that's it.
That's all she needs. We're so close, Brock. So close.
So, Jana, when Eden and I were kind of going through these episodes, the first episode, all episodes were good, but the first episode that we went, ooh, that feels like the middle, was actually yours and Mitch's first episode, the trip. Yes.
I love the trip.
I'm curious. And also, I liked the jeans. The jeans also feels like right in the pocket of, what the show is.
Right.
My question is obviously you understand the show and you connect with it, and it shows in your writing as well, but do you guys in the writer's room have an inkling of ooh, this is the script that really sings? Or is it when everything kind of comes together from the directing and the acting and the music that that it's hitting the pocket and then you write to that?
It's all of the above. Okay, so what happened with the trip was Deanne's aunt had done The Wizard of Oz in Illinois or wherever, Indiana, wherever they're from. And so we were going to do the Wizard of Oz one. We had written an outline for it. And the network said, Frankie looks way too mean, and she's being mean to Sue, and we don't like this, and is there anything else you can do? It's too soon for this. The people don't know the characters well enough. And there is some truth to that. I'm not going to, of course, we were stomping around the halls going, they shot it down, but they were probably right in the end. So at that point, we had to add a story, because it was God, what is the story? And somebody's kid was selling something for school. And then that was when we started talking about what if Sue's selling cheese and sausage. And then I don't remember who pitched what or what. Some stories I do remember, exactly where they came from. This one, it just seemed like everybody got kind of excited about it when it came out. What if we did this? And we were under the gun because they had shot down a story and we needed scripts. We were already getting ready to start production and stuff, so it was kind of scary early on when you would get something shot down. It was a little scary, you're a little bit oh no, where are we gonna go? So we whipped up the trip pretty fast, and I love the monologue of Frankie at the bus.
Yes.
I was on set that day she did that, and she got every word of it, and I've been working with stand-up comics and things, and if they even get close to the monologue, you're happy, right? You're all right, you got the basic gist of it. It's good enough. It got enough of a laugh at the end, we're fine with it. Moving on, it's but so this was the first time I was sitting on this school bus or whatever, or outside of this school bus, and she's giving the speech to the guy, and I just was almost cried because she had every single word of that speech. And I just looked at Deanna and I go, that's every word. And Deanna goes, I know. We were just unbelievable. We're both teary a little bit because she tries and she wants to do it. She gives the big heartfelt speech at the end. And then she gets in her car and the red envelope falls down. And she had forgotten to turn it in,
Well, that just kind of goes to the power of the precision of the writing, right? Because when you have good writing and then Patty's able to understand what does that comma mean, or a dash from a writer, she's able to kind of then take her comedic genius and it kind of all marries. And I feel stand-up comedians are very funny, but they just don't have that precise eye that Patty Heaton does.
Or dare I say it, the work ethic, maybe not on here. How many people
You can say that. I feel
I don't think I'm talking out of school.
There's a difference. I'll say there is, especially now, that I've been performing live and I'm getting a little bit more in stand-up circuit. I'm meeting a lot more and becoming friends with a lot more stand-ups, proper stand-ups. There is. These are different worlds. Being an actor and being a stand-up are two completely different things. And no.
Very different.
They're absolutely. It's maybe not a work ethic, but it's a work. I don't even know what. You literally said if stand-ups, when you were in stand-ups, if they get 50%, if they basically get the gist, it's great, we got it.
All right,
it's
we
just
gotta laugh. We gotta laugh. That's good. Move on. We'll be here forever if we don't.
such a difference. That is not like that. When you're an actor, you really do. Because part of your, you know that your job, it's not to be funny, even though it is to be funny. It is to say the lines. That's part of the job. That's not part of a stand-up's job.
Right.
It's to say their own words on stage.
And also, it's generally not funny to the people in it. It's funny to the people watching it going, thank God that isn't me. You know, you're laughing but usually, like, if somebody's got a sink spewing water everywhere, like, if that was actually happening to you, it wouldn't be funny. But it's kind of funny because it's happening to the Hex, and they're trying to stop the dishwasher and do whatever they're doing. You know, and it's funny, you know.
So this sort of leads well into my other question. I always want to know. When writers work on both multicam and single cam, because the stand-up thing sort of lends itself. And you have done both. And for our listeners, just really quick, multicam is it's a laugh track. If you're like Friends, Seinfeld, all the shows from the 90s, those are multicam, and they still make them today. Big Bang. I mean. Oh wait, is the Connors multicam?
Oh, yes.
Connors multicam. We usually have an audience, but this last 6, because of time constraints with the actors, we have to film more of it without an audience. But usually we have a live audience for every show.
Okay.
And they laugh, hopefully.
Yes. Yeah. And then single cam, it's things like The Middle, Malcolm in the Middle, anything where there's no laugh track and it's shot, even though it's a comedy, it's shot like a drama or a movie. That's single cam.
And also, you can bury the joke in the middle of speeches. You can you can put the joke wherever you want it in single cam. Multicam is a little trickier. The joke kind of has to go in certain spots because you have an audience and they kind of know when to laugh. And they freak out we've done it a few times in the Connors where we put a joke in a not the rhythm of the pattern of the joke. And the audience kind of laughs, but then they're a little bit like, were we supposed to laugh? You know, they do that. It's like, yeah, it's fine. You can laugh anywhere. And the Connors, because our actors are so strong, we might have a joke in the middle of a speech that gets a big laugh. They have to stop and then finish the speech and get a joke at the end of it. Because, you've got John Goodman and Laurie Metcalf and, Katie Seagal and Sarah. Yeah, we got legends. They can pretty much nail anything. It's that's exciting too as a writer. That's fun. And we but the middle cast was great. The middle cast was so good.
Well, so what do you prefer then? Had you worked on single cams before the middle?
Well, no. What happened? Well, yes, I had actually. What happened was we went from According to Jim to a show called Notes from the Underbelly. And I had written a Larry Sanders script in a UCLA extension class. And it was a single cam. We only had multicam. We had a King of the Hill spec script, and we had Everybody Loves Raymond, a multicam spec script. And that was pretty much all we had. And we were working off of those. And then we had scripts that we had written on shows and stuff. But I had gone to class and written this Larry Sanders, which was a single camera show. And so this woman named Stacy Traub, she liked us because we had a kid and we were raising a kid in LA. That's what the show was about, right? And our daughters are actually 3 days apart. So that was also another thing. Like, it was sort of like, so Mitch and I polished up this Larry Sanders episode that we wrote. We had to update all the references so that they made any sense at all because I had written it so long before. So we spent a whole weekend, quickly making it make sense. And then we shipped it off to her, and we got an interview, and she hired us. And that was a really fun show to do. That had Rachel Harris in it, and Jennifer Westfeldt was in it, and then a bunch of actors that nobody would know, but they were good. Melanie Paxson was one. It was a fun show. So, but it didn't make it. The strike killed it. The 2007 strike.
Oh, sure. Because your notoriety and most of your professional experience had come from multi-camera comedy. With multi-camera comedies, when you tape it, it all takes place in one singular afternoon or night for the audiences, and the writers are all there, and again, if the audience laughs, great, and sometimes if the audience doesn't laugh, the writers descend upon the actors, right, and you guys adjust the jokes, and you huddle, and then you give the actors the adjustment in real time.
And then we run in a new line. How does that translate, or what do you do? Yeah.
Holding
Done
seat.
that before, don't. That's very scary. The audience is sitting there going, if you don't give us pizza, we're going to come over this railing and kill you all.
My
So
husband
I've been in that
left.
situation.
My literally, he literally left, and I was like, "Do I have to come? Like, you're my ride. I have to come back, right?"
I have to Uber, I guess,
Yeah.
or maybe,
So
maybe
boring.
some
when you're
human traffic car will give me a ride on the Ventura Boulevard. Bye, honey. Don't worry about me.
So when you're doing
But-
single
yes.
camera comedy, there's no rewrites really, at least on the middle. There weren't really rewrites on set, or at least there's not the barometer. There wasn't a barometer of the audience. So what do you do in those scenarios?
We just rewrote after the table read and then spent the rest of the time on the next, the next stories and the next scripts. And I have to say the middle was run really well. Like we were always pretty far ahead, right? And so at what we would do, we were a small staff. We would be in rotation constantly, right? So, and it wasn't one of those things where it's like, oh, you pitched the story, so it's yours. It was more like you're in rotation now. You just turned one in, and here's your new one. Like it was like that. It really was. It was fairly intense at first because you're trying to get used to the fact that you just got one. But that brings me to the jeans trigger episode.
Yes.
Okay,
I was
so
gonna say, what off mic you said this was really season 1 triggering, and it kind of was for me too. I'm dying to know, what did you mean?
okay. So we were not done with the jeans yet, okay? So we had written our first draft. We had got notes on our first draft, and we're going to use Brooke Shields, okay? Because the network is going, we need something to promote, and Eileen and Deanne were friends with Brooke Shields, and Brooke Shields said, yeah, I'd love to come do something with you guys. So I pitched out, nobody wants to see Brooke Shields pretty. Let's make her ugly. That was my pitch. I go, we've all seen her. She's pretty. Yeah, she could be Brooke's favorite pretty teacher. Yeah, sure. Snoozing. But anyway, so I was the one who pitched that she might be. We had already figured out we were going to do this family of 5 crazy boys because I had one in my neighborhood and Deanne had one in her neighborhood. And Deanne's were the Glossners, actually. That's who they were. And so we went with the Glossners. But so I said, what if she's the mother of the 5 crazy boys? Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, this is so exciting. So we decided we're finally going to get these Glossners launched, right? And so Brooke has a time schedule because she's doing something else, like maybe theater or something. And so they're like, here's our window for Brooke. And they go, we want Mitch and Jana to write The Neighbor. And then we were like, but we're not finished with the jeans. And they're like, yeah, well, you're just going to have to do both of them.
Gosh.
So I'm right. And then also we had a destination wedding in Santa Barbara that weekend, right? So it's like, it was so crazy. So I'm writing the outline for The Neighbor while Mitch is trying to finish up the notes on the jeans so we can turn in the jeans for the last, for their pass. Deanne and Eileen would do a pass. And then I'm trying to finish the one sheet that goes to the network and the outline. It was just crazy. And try to attend my friend's wedding in Santa Barbara all at the same time. I spent my friend's wedding in Santa Barbara in the business center with Mitch emailing me stuff and me emailing it back. And it was crazy. It was an insane time.
So did you do back-to-back episodes?
We did back-to-back. We did the
Wow.
jeans and The Neighbor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because that's
So that was a
not
little
really
bit-
normal, right? In a normal
No.
scenario, yeah.
Thank the Lord.
I've never seen that again.
No, I have never done that again, but we did it, and I was so glad. I'm glad we got to launch the Glossners. That felt kind of good to me. Like that felt fun that we got to do them, and I got to read her at all the table reads and stuff. That was fun for me. So, that was the trigger with the jeans, right? And I was never on set because we just didn't have a big enough staff for Mitch and me to both go to set, even though Writers Guild would probably have preferred that. But but I thought that the jeans was a great episode.
Oh, so funny.
So talking about you and Mitch, I do need to know, because we used to talk about it a lot on set, or people, I'm sure everyone is like, wow, when you work with your with your spouse. Like, that is 24/7. And you guys
Yes, it is.
never seemed, you guys seemed like you're the goal. You're like, when people talk about couple goals, like, you're it. You are it. You just seem to like have such a light heart around each other. And I really want to know, I don't know your backstory. What came first, writing or dating? Or both at the same time?
We were married when we started writing, so we were already married. But
Okay.
when we started writing together, it was very intense because we're both funny people. I started in Groundlings. That's where I started writing.
Right.
In
Of course you
Groundlings.
did that. Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't know that.
I love Groundlings. It was a cutthroat experience, but valuable.
Sure.
So, it really was cutthroat. But so Mitch took classes at UCLA, and what was happening was I was going, "Is this funny?" And I'd come in and I'd do my monologue, and he'd go, "I think it's funnier if you say it this way." And I go, "You're so right. That's funnier." But then when we started writing spec scripts, I'm more of a scattered joke pitcher. Like he thinks and then pitches. But I get him in the right area sometimes. Like can't come up with an area, so my scatter pitches get him to thinking, and then he comes up with.
He can
It's a
kind of
weird
formulate.
system, but it all works, right? The middle we had to break up. That was where because it was just too much going on. We used to write scripts together, right? Like we wrote them sitting there together.
Oh,
and
side by side.
Yes, and we said we both have to think it's funny to go in.
Yeah.
Because if we both think it's funny, it probably is. Right? You know what I mean?
Totally.
So we both have to like it for it to go in. And that kind of settled all the fighting, any fighting about. But I do remember, like, we were writing a Grace Under Fire spec script. And I pitched something, and he was going, no. And I pitched something else, he'd go, no. And I finally was, well, you pitched something, you son of a bitch. I'm yelling. And then finally he comes in and goes, if we're going to do this, I think we better lay some ground rules. And I was like, I think so, because my feelings are getting hurt.
Yeah,
And he
I
was
mean, that's
going,
very
okay.
smart because you have to protect your relationship as well. So are you also able to like turn off work brain?
It's hard not to.
Yeah,
it's hard
weird.
not to because it's our interest also. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Like we love the writing, we love the acting, and when we watch TV, we don't watch TV as people watch TV. We watch it as writers, going,
Right.
well, there's we look at each other and literally go, that's a network note, or whatever.
Do you ever punch up? Do you ever punch up the TV shows you're watching?
Constantly. I'm going, that is not a blow line. And here is the blow line. And Mitch will go, yes, that is a better blow. But we weren't there. I go, yeah, we weren't. We were on this show with better blow lines.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have to tell you, I met Sarah. I can't remember if I texted you this or not, Jana, but I met Sarah Gilbert on the pickleball court. This is months ago now at this point, before
Right.
your final season started.
Me, actually.
I did. I couldn't remember, but she had like her hat on and her sunglasses. But I saw her playing early in the morning, and as she was like packing up, I was like, I have to tell you, I know Jana and Mitch, and her face lit up when I mentioned both of your names.
Well, you've had a longer conversation with her than I have. Then. No, she's actually very nice, but we're off doing our thing, and we don't really
Right.
converse. And I try never to be on set if I can avoid it at the Connors.
Sure.
I don't know why. It's just one of those things where I'm like,
That's why you've requested Thursday and Fridays off
Thursday,
every week.
yeah, because that's where they just camera block and everything, and I'm just like, do I have to be here for this? I'm the lazier one. Mitch is like, we're gonna get this thing in the can, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, you do what you have to do, sweetie. Love you.
Jana, this has been such a fun conversation, and we always wrap up each interview with the blue bag grab. So they're a combination of a little bit of middle trivia from your history with the middle, and a rapid fire question about your career here and there. So, are you ready
See if I can even remember my career.
for the blue bag grab?
I'm ready. Let's do this
Okay.
thing.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I thought you were okay. You look like you're actually pulling something, and I was like, are you really gonna pull it?
No, this is just the prop blue bag. This is just for visual.
I'm gonna pull in. We're gonna do a magic trick. I'm gonna go like this. Here we go. Now I'm gonna read off my screen. Okay. So question one. This is a three-parter. Did you and Mitch? Here we go. We're gonna list 3 episodes, and you're gonna tell me, did you and Mitch write this episode of The Middle? The answer is either yes or it is no.
Yikes.
Okay. First episode, spring cleaning.
No, Vigil wrote that one.
Yes, correct. Dental hijinks.
Yeah, no.
Yes,
Yes?
you did. You did.
Dr. Goodwin's actually based on a doctor I work for in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay, go ahead.
Oh my God. That's right, because you were a dental hygienist. You were a dental
I'm a
assistant,
dental
right?
hygienist, yes.
Wow.
I have a trade, so y'all, I've got no worries in my life. I have a trade.
The college tour.
No.
That's
that
correct.
one I know we didn't write. But
Okay.
I can't believe I didn't remember dental hijinks. Which one was that one? I remember we did the Smile Superstar one where they jacked up the
that's the
mini
convention
bar.
one, right?
Yeah. Because that's where Mitch said, I said y'all, not all y'all. That was Mitch's pitch. And for Dr. Goodwin, he said, I didn't say all y'all, I said y'all.
Oh, wait, I
Y'all
do
can
remember
eat
that
from the
joke
mini
now.
bar. Remember that?
Yeah.
Mitch pitched that out. We were all just laughing our butts off. Mitch would
Oh,
do
that's
these room bits too. So when we're having wine, I'll tell you about Mitch's room bits.
Mitch,
Oh, good. I
Mitch
can't
is the
wait.
quietest, most low-key bit monster I've ever known in my life.
He's hilarious. He's hilarious.
Like, he's so funny, and you don't realize, like, usually when there's a bit monster, it's like, whew, okay, let's calm down, turn it off. Like, can you turn it off for 1 second? Mitch, all of a sudden you realize, we've been going on this for 10 minutes. He's continued. He's not stopped. It's amazing.
hilarious. Yeah, I know. He's good.
Okay, number 2,
right.
Brock, go for it.
Question number 2, also a little bit of a two-parter. I think you get the first part very easily. Fill in the blank. The very last episode. Actually, do you remember the last episode, what the entire title was? Or do you need a little bit of a hint to get you into it?
The very last episode, the finale.
That you and Mitch wrote.
Oh, the last one that we wrote. God, no, I have no idea.
Okay, can you finish the title then? Thank you for... Okay. Thank you for not kissing.
Thank you for not kissing. Okay, it still means nothing to me.
Oh no. Okay, I have more. There's a part 2 to this. I gave you 10 questions instead of 5. So because each one has its own separate part. Can you finish the storylines? I'm going to give you a little bit of the storyline. Can you finish it? Frankie and Mike get called into Dr. Fulton's office at Orson High School because...
Oh, because Cindy and Brick are making out everywhere.
There it is. Good.
Okay, all right, okay. Whatever you do, don't ask me what I wrote for According to Jim. I can tell you nothing. It's a blur. I do remember a talking turkey, but I don't remember anything.
All you know is that the kids did not get to high school.
They did not get to high school.
No.
On my watch, anyway.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. I don't know if maybe you can get in the ballpark of this. How many episodes total did you and Mitch write for The Middle?
I think it's 36 to 40, somewhere in there.
Yes. Very good. 37.
Wow.
Yeah, I keep up with that for residuals.
Yeah.
I gotta keep up with that, right?
Just make sure you're
Like
every time those check
I
comes in,
feel like
double check their work.
I'm owed something. I'm gonna get it.
Okay, number 4. This is rapid fire. There's no wrong answer. Who was your favorite character to write for on The Middle?
I don't know. All of them. I liked all of them. Frankie, probably a little bit. Frankie.
Frankie.
Great.
Love it.
But I liked all of them. Liked them all. You were all
Good.
brilliant.
I love that. That's
I
such a
think-
political answer. I love that.
Yeah. And I'm not
Especially
buying
I'm
it.
sitting here with 2 of them right there.
I
You're
was
all
really hoping.
geniuses.
I wanted to say, and then I was like, no, this is too much. I was going to say, it doesn't have to be Sue or Brad. It really does not. And I'm glad you answered, honestly. That genuinely makes me feel. See, this is what you don't mess around.
No.
You're too grown, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry, y'all are gonna have to just deal with it. But it was Frankie because I was living more of her life than you guys'
Right.
life. So
Of course.
It makes me
enjoy
trust
writing.
you more. I think I talked to David Rosenthal one time. I saw him. I don't know where I saw him, and he was like this grown white man. He was like really adult man. He was like Sue is my favorite character to write for, and I was like, really? I was like, I guess I believe you because that's too weird not to. Okay.
But you were fun. I mean, that time you went over 10 phones to get the cheerleader phone. And then when we had the killer bunny and everybody was up and everybody was really 110% commitment from this cast.
Don't ingratiate yourself, Jana.
No, you were hilarious in the evil bunny episode. Remember that one? You were up on the island trying to get to the phone like it was a boat. It was hilarious. Do you want to know when we realized that you guys, as the children, had come together and it was good? Was
Tell
when
us.
Frankie ate the toenails and you guys, and she left, and the 3 kids were like untethered and they didn't know what to do because mom had left. And it was like you guys were in a bedroom together, and it was one of the funniest scenes I have ever seen in my life. And I'm like, the kids are on fire. The kids are on fire. I mean, it took a little while for the kids to get lit, but once we lit them, they were just, you know.
Yeah.
You guys were always good with Frankie or good with Mike, but the 3 of you by yourselves together, it was like, all right, now we're off and running. We can do whatever we want to do.
Oh, that's
Put
fun.
whoever we want together. The combinations are working now.
That must be such a relief. Truly, because I know kids can be tough. You never know.
Especially the asshole ones.
Yeah.
I gotta laugh at that. It hurts so bad.
All right, moving on.
Oh, yeah, okay. Do we still have questions? Or
final
okay,
question.
Final
or the last
question.
one.
All right, I'm ready.
And since you did watch this episode, I think you will absolutely get this correct. In this episode, the jeans, Frankie, the flashback where Frankie understands Sue's desire for a pair of jeans. This is because she wanted a pair of shoes from
Candies, the candy shoes.
Oh, I'm
They were
sorry.
in
From
the
what
window.
show? From what TV show?
Oh, they were. Oh, I didn't see what TV show they were from. They were just
Oh, we
candies.
stumped her.
Oh wow, we did. I remember being like, oh, that's a good joke, or that's good. How timely. Like that makes it more
I didn't even pay
specific.
attention. Was it from Three's Company or something? What's
No,
it from?
Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's Angels. Oh, okay. Somebody threw that in with creativity. I don't.
There you
or
go.
maybe it was in the script. I don't know. I wrote it, but I don't remember putting it in there. But
Well, Jana, this is all we have for you.
That
I
was
know.
so
But
fun.
it was so fun. It went so fast. Like
It went really fast. I'm
I
surprised.
know,
really
we've been
fast.
here
It's been
almost an hour. Jana, truly, thank you so much for doing this.
So much.
Okay.
Yay.
So how do I get out of here?
So that was just fantastic.
I love Jana. She's
I
funny.
forget. She is so funny. I really forget you have to be so funny to be a comedy writer.
And she's just like a titan of the industry. She's worked on so many things and has been at the highest level of a writer you can be on so many things. She and
Yeah.
Mitch, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so Eden, instead of a listener question or reading out, a letter from a fan, I think we should read. We pulled some comments, didn't we, from our social medias. So these make me laugh. I know they make you laugh. So we're going to read a couple of them today. So Alicia from TikTok said, I know y'all are young, but Mike is the hottie from that show. Cry laughing emoji and a heart.
I mean, sure. I see it. He's a distinguished old man. It's hard for me to say because he really is like my dad.
A
Like
dad
I still,
figure.
yeah, he really is. Yes, he really is. But I get it. Sure, I'll say from afar, totally. And then another one about the men on the show. Cobb on TikTok referencing Bo Wyrick. He aged like fine wine. He does look like a man now.
Yeah.
I will say. He definitely, like, I was showing my husband some of these, like this TikTok, and he was like, wow, he looks, not in like he looks old, like, oh God. He was like, oh, he looks like a grown up.
That's what a 401k will do to you.
Yes, it will. That's what yes, a suit and talking about finance all day.
Yes.
Will give you a jawline suddenly.
Allie Golden on Patreon. I'm sorry, Brock saying he started drinking Diet Coke genuinely made me cackle. LMAO. You know what, Allie? I was very vulnerable in that moment when I was telling you about my beverage selections. That I started opening up my beverage intake, and the fact that you laughed at that is atrocious. So I want you to sit and think about it, and if you can't get over that, then I need you to unsubscribe from Patreon, honey. Okay?
Allie, please don't unsubscribe. All right, we got Mama Reads Books 925 on TikTok. I look forward to my Fridays, my work days in quotes. So I can listen to Eden and Brock.
Oh, Mama reads books.
Yeah, Mama reads books. Mama listens to Eden and Brock.
That's your new TikTok name.
Yeah.
Ian Wedderburn from TikTok. Oh, yes. From my SNL audition. We all need to see the Joan Rivers. Eden, I have a gift for you.
Are you about to? Oh my God.
I'm going to show you.
I'm shaking.
I'm going to show you a series. I have like 5. I'm going to show you all the different looks. And here's the thing. If this doesn't get you to subscribe to Patreon, at least to the $10 tier, the Bosco bonus, where you get to see the video and see these, you're really missing out. So Eden, I'm going to just show you the series of my my auditions, okay? So first we have I was the Trivago travel guy. You know, the guy who I put baby powder in my hair to give me that salt and pepper look, and I cosplayed as the Trivago spokesperson.
Wow, that's honestly that's innovative.
Thank you. I played a frat guy. I have to
your
say
arms. Prague.
And a Coors Light and an American flag right behind me. The audition as a whole was terrible, but I did have some funny lines where I was like, "Oh, you don't remember me? You passed out at Nathan's Tour de Franzia party."
That's great.
So, I played one of those inflatable blow-up guys in front of car dealerships.
Oh my God. I would love to see it. They just did a gag like this on Night Court, on the episode of Night Court that I was on.
They did?
Yeah.
And then this guy, it was an unnamed 3-named person, because I think 3-named people are really cool, like Jennifer Love Hewitt, Jennifer Jason
Gellar.
Leigh. Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar, exactly. So this was him. I don't know what his name was, but
It should have been Christian. Can I name him? Can I name him real fast?
Yeah, is it Christian?
I think it's hold on, Christian Jonathan Mitchell. No, it's Christian. It's Christian Mitchell Jones. Christian Mitchell Jones. That's what it is.
With my Susie Orman wig. Are you kidding? But
Is that what that is?
And so the clip I was finding, the audition as a whole was terrible, but some of these one-offs are very funny. I said, one of the lines I said for this audition was, I don't know, Chloe Grace Moretz, 3-name person, thanks for best friends because we got matching stomach pumps in Cabo last year.
That's funny. That's very funny. That is so Christian.
That is so Christian. And then finally, it's terrible.
I'm here for it.
I'm sweating, actually.
Please.
So bad. This is at like 7:30 a.m. That is like a random blonde wig, $5 Target makeup.
If you are spending $3 on anything, I will say, which is less than half of a Starbucks tall drink, I cannot emphasize enough, spend $3 on this episode so that you can see what I am seeing right now.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Again, the impersonation was terrible, but some of the lines are funny. I said, as Joan Rivers, I named my ovaries Cameron Diaz and Demi Moore because they haven't worked in forever.
That's funny.
Cute, right?
That's funny, Brock.
Written. And then what did I say? Is like everything stopped working and I haven't been done in forever. And what is it? Oh, I said, and the last person who did me was a drag queen in Cincinnati, Ohio. But if I wanted to see a fruity man with a limp wrist and makeup, I just hang out with Ryan Seacrest.
Brock, this is great. These are fantastic.
But again, the impersonation, maybe that's why they didn't download it.
How did they know that? They just saw the thumbnail and they were like, no, thank you.
Oh God.
Oh my God. No, Brock, these are fantastic. I want to see the video. You don't have to show that, but I want to see it.
I'll be in the next room, but yeah, I'll let you see it at some point.
Oh God, I'm going to show my kids. They're going to love it.
Oh, good. Next week, remember, no recap, but we do have an episode, and it's with Eileen Heisler and Deanne Helene, the creators of The Middle. And again, starting next week, you can purchase those one-off episodes. So if it's Eileen and Deanne, if you want to go back and purchase the Patty episode, we'd love to see you there. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I'll see you next week.
I will. I love you.
Love you.